Hello friends, welcome to another solo, last one I promise for this cycle this week of the Lords of War YouTube channel featuring me, Jay. Chris is away still, but he should be back for our Wednesday content next week. Keep the questions coming. It's a great place for us to pull ideas from. Today isn't really that. I'm just, flying by the seat of my pants. So today is another dreaded top list of things that you can do. If you hate these kind of videos, you can just turn it off right now. But anyway, I thought today's little topic would be kind of a set of things that you can kind of qualify them as hobby tips or things that maybe these are things I come across in conversations a lot with people, new people, old people, veterans of the hobby, non-veterans who stuck in different kind of how you can get through some of the I don't know, roadblocks that can come up with trying to get models done, or even the gaming side, or getting whatever part of your hobby that you're struggling with going. So today I'm sitting in front of one of my favorite shelves in the store. This shelf in this cabinet is just basically full of like figures and busts, things like that. There's some Shatterpoint that I painted. So figures and busts, I always find these great. This is a 75 mil Big Child Creative mini that I painted. So you can see it's just like pretty decent size, like 3-4 inches tall. I love painting these because it's just free and liberating. You're not like having to necessarily focus on. It's not for like an army or a list or meta. I don't know if this is even. Let's see if we can get this to look at this. Yeah. Anyway, she was super fun to paint. So fun I actually painted. I painted the bust version too. There you go. It's kind of fun. So anyway, with that out of the way, that aside. So first thing I'm going to cover things like this happens a lot with painting, and it has to do with especially whether you're newer or old, is you might be doing a technique or something, and you're just struggling, and it's like you just want to throw it, put it down, you keep trying something, it's not working, or you paint a model and you're not happy. And the one thing I personally tell people to avoid doing is the strip down. So that means getting a liquid, stripping down the model. And I find that although obviously there's a reason, models aren't cheap, and you don't necessarily buy a new model. I'm not necessarily tell people to do that, but I think there's a certain just move on to the next one. Just if it's a squad of guys and then one of them just looks a little weird, just paint the next one. Just keep going. I find when you go back, there's a psychological thing that happens where you're like, it hits you even harder when you do the second one, the next one up, and it's still not great. You're just literally, and then you look over at your progress, you're like, I'm still on the first one. And so I very much try and get people to just move on, because every model you paint for pretty much forever the one you paint today will be slightly better than one you painted yesterday, and so forth. And this holds true even for the god tier pros. They are also constantly getting a little better, refining something a little better. The practice. So yeah, it's obviously if you're plateauing a bit, there's a bit of look for some do your diligence. Maybe look around, ask some questions, find some people that know what they're doing, whether online or in person. Obviously, in person is ideal because they can usually assess things kind of quickly. Like I can see by eye immediately if someone's overloading their brush or not fitting the paint enough. These are small things that you can correct very quickly in person on hand, but obviously it's not a always viable option for everyone. But yeah, when you're plateauing, it is extra tough. But again, all I can say is just keep going. For the plateauing thing, I find the best sort of way through that is to step out of your comfort zone a bit. Try different scheme of paints, different steps. Try a technique that you're not comfortable with. You might unlock or get past it that way. You do have to kind of push with a harder difficulty to get over that, or really approach it from an angle that you're not used to. So the next thing is kind of some crazy irony, because I'm delivering this to you in video form, and I basically said don't consume just the videos. So a lot of what I get here at the store is someone's and I do this too. I love watching, Cult of Pain or whoever is painting something, whether it's one of the big name, Angel Horaldo is another favorite of mine for airbrushing. Or Sergio Calvo, all these guys, like, it's great to watch and get inspired and see how they do things, but there's like several things that just don't translate easily. One is like the brushwork that those people have, and what I mean is like there's a physical skill that they've honed in how they load the brush, apply the paint, how much pressure they apply, the brush stroke, how nimble they are, how they're able to apply just the exact amount of paint in the right spot. All of those things, that's a physical thing that you can't cheat. Like you only develop it by doing it a lot. That part is very much like the music or instrument analogy, where you just won't. Uh, you know, you, I, you know, you- I, someone like me who has very little ability to play an instrument. Maybe I can play a very simple rendition of "Mary Had a Little Lamb" on a piano or something, because I can get by on that. There's a massive difference between me doing it and my brother-in-law, who's a professional musician. Like the way it sounds, even though we're hitting the same keys and even in the same timing, he's going to be able to just through the how he applies the pressure to the keys and little nuances that will make it make a vast difference. And so that's one thing in the videos that I try and get people to be like, the video's good for like the color schemes, maybe what paints they use, and I love it when they post the names and the exact colors they use. It's very helpful. Sometimes there's a problem with that too, though, because often those paints and supplies maybe is just what that person had available to them. Some of it is personal preference. Some of it is just like they went to their local store or wherever they get their supplies from, and that's kind of what they have. Um, Maybe not every store has certain brushes or makes, like there's certain brands of brushes that are just very difficult for me to get and maybe easy to get in Europe or in the States. So I've kind of a lot of what I have is a bit of like a mix of like, I mean, it's all proven to be good. Like Chris and I curate everything we sell and we use them, whether it's an Artist Opus or Da Vinci or Green Stuff World or another little brand we carry as Handover. All of those companies, Vallejo actually released actually, I recommend that if you don't want to spend a huge amount of money but get a decent brush. The Vallejo has this like Pro Modeler series of brushes. They're like a blend of they're not weasel hair, but they're a blend of natural hair. Really good for the money. Yeah, this is my little. There you go. That's for free. Size 1, size 2, size O. They're great. Just get them. You can beat them up. They don't cost $1 billion. But anyway, so sometimes I get people. They'll be like, oh, but I need this thing. I need this whatever brand of oil paint or this brush or this exact shade, whatever it is. It could be a Reaper or a Tamiya or I don't know, some brand. I have like 8 or 9 racks and brands of paint, but maybe like there's more than that in existence, and I can't fit them all in here. And there might be like something that is just I don't have, and I try and be like, well, you can probably use this instead, and that's fine. And I get some people are like, I don't know, I want to copy the video, and I don't fully begrudge them there, but I also say like you're also hurting yourself in a way. You're kind of like kneecapping yourself for no reason, I guess. So anyway, the point is a lot of the artists just use what they use, and you'd be surprised how often the decisions they make with the colors or even what this is just because it's just like what paint was nearby. I'm not on the level of a lot of these. I would consider, and I think Chris as well, consider ourselves like above average. We are, there's some, some of these busts I painted, I've gotten awards for, but it's against some pretty good competition. But I'm not expecting. I'm not a golden demon painter, so to speak. But I'd put myself in the semi-pro tier below that, and I joke often. So a lot of customers come in and they love what they see in here, and they love asking us questions. And they'll be like, "How'd you do that?" I'm like, "I don't know. I just I grabbed some blue and some green, and I don't know. I was nearby, and I just looked through. I just like rifled through my paint. You should see my paint box is just this clear tote that has like I don't know 70 colors in it, and the colors I use, but it's like haphazardly piled in there. And I wouldn't be surprised if that's common with again these online guys. So Let's move on to number 3. Don't DIY everything. Okay, so DIYing is a very famous part of the hobby, and it obviously uh, is something that sometimes leads to the best happy accidents. And it works for some people. It's a part of the hobby that's a big deal to them. Is kind of discover. You're on the side of the spectrum where you're like, not only are you like happy to mix your own colors and do what I just said with just grabbing whatever is on hand and making it work, but you've taken it to the nth degree. It's like it's almost equivalent to the hiker who wants to like shave their toothbrush down to just like a few bristles, and that we don't need the handle. That's like a 2 grams of weight that I could save. Things like that. You're going like to the nth extreme. You're being like I want to come up, alchemy, something that some sort of washes are famous for this, some sort of like wash or glaze out of the stuff I have, out of like some artist paint, and now it ends up being something that's like only I know how to do, and it's cheaper and it looks cool, and now I have like anyway all these like checks all these boxes, and it hits that like rewarding feeling of making something yourself. Excuse me, the throat's a little dry. They so that's fine. I find there's a problem there that occurs. Well, first of all, it's extra rough with newer hobbyists again, because they sometimes don't understand why they're doing what they're doing. They're just kind of like maybe they watched a video, or they often, I'm going to say this, often it is usually derived from not wanting to buy the product, because look, I get it. There's the thing that I sell. Well, I think I've mostly sold through them, but I don't know if I'll get more because they're prohibitively expensive. There was the dirty down products are super cool. It's like this they sell these like rust effects that are like really special. Nothing else on the market does it. It's essentially, you can like slam this paint on and it just creates this realistic rust for you, like magic. But a jar like this big, like a whatever 20 mils or 17, like one of these army painter jars. Oop, it's over there. They're like here, after I bring it in, because it's not in I have to get it from the States and bring it in. They end up being like $27 a jar for this, like, not, I don't know, slightly more paint than a regular paint jar. And I was like, was this a mistake? And then people bought it because they saw it online and it had some hype around it. And most people that use it are like, that's cool. But I'm like, man, like there's probably an example where I could see people being like, can I make this myself? Now I think that's probably a product that is like very hard to replicate without the right chemicals. Um, but that's maybe the extreme example. But I've seen people kind of just like, I'm gonna like, I don't know, make my own brush and use all these off products. So I'm not gonna use this primer. I'm gonna get the hardware store rattle can. And look, if it works, it works. I don't have nothing against it. If you have processes that work and get stuff done and painted, that's the best. That's the best result you can get. Use whatever you have on hand, but often it's kind of like, I guess, like a lot of the stuff that we have, especially now with the quality of the hobby products that are available. You don't. I think that was a thing that was more relevant in the um, early, or like when I was started the hobby in the early 2000s, because there was just not as many products available, and they weren't all great, and there were some good, some bad, but like there's so much good now that it's really hard to mess it up. Like all these companies make really good paint. The advancement of that has really gone up. They all these, like, whether it's AK or MIG or Vallejo or even GW, they have like really fun technical paints and ways to do these special techniques. There's like Green Stuff World makes a thing. It's called like spider serum. You can basically, you could throw it in your airbrush and it makes like spider webs for your like diorama bases to add cobwebs and crazy, or like like when a creature opens its jaw and you get that like saliva thing. Yeah, all these stuff exists now, and it's all pretty easy to use. So, but yeah, I'll be honest, I always cringe when the someone's like, I made my own this, and I'm like, no, because it often, frankly, doesn't look or work like it should, or like they think it does. But anyway, that's a tip of mine. I think you will have a better experience if you can follow the some of the guides and advice and whatever is kind of common in the market now. Especially like the advent of contrast paint these days. Like there's some like you can get armies that look pretty good up so easily now. You don't need to mix and do all this crazy stuff. So the fourth thing I have today is it has to do with like join or making a hobby club, and or it applies to gaming as well. So something that I don't see often enough. I'm extremely privileged to have, as a Chris as well, to have this in our lives, that we, among our close friends, we were a hobby club almost first and a gaming club second. So the however many of us, 10 of us, 8 of us, 6 of us, we would mostly get together and paint. And I found that I got almost the same reward or dopamine or whatever you want to call it, the same thing would occur whether I was painting or playing. Actually, I got, the painting, you're just sitting and throwing movies on and just painting for an evening with your friends. The same jokes, same laughs. It's actually more inclusive because it's not like, because games are usually like one-on-one. So if two people are playing, you kind of leave them to do that because you don't want to like interrupt and be, get in the way or be too much of a peanut gallery. But if you're sitting and painting, you can have a laugh, you can tell stories, you can share ideas. That will accelerate your painting more than anything you can imagine. Just that, even if you're at different skill levels, because someone will be like, "Oh, that's cool. How'd you do that?" Or "What color did you use there?" Or you can just openly, "Hey guys, what do you think of this? Should I be doing?" And then someone will be like, "Nah, that's dumb. Do this instead." And, things like that. And again, we're lucky and blessed to have that going on here, and we've fostered that here in the store. But yeah, it's something that I definitely. If and sometimes you have to be the person that kind of gets it going. Maybe you're, at the local FLGS or something. So a lot of people post like, "Oh, I want to run a game day or arrange games, arrange painting." Just get people to come in and just sit. And you'd be surprised how powerful and easy it is to do that. Yeah, you got to bring a few supplies with you, but it's not hard to bring. You know, if your lighting's a problem, bring a lamp. An extension cord. Hobby stores will like it more than the game because there's much more opportunity for sales. People always need an extra paint or brush or glue or something in those situations. So anyway, and the last thing I want to talk about is to do with my last kind of tip, and this kind of circles back to the beginning with the painting, and it has to do, I call it do it for you. So often with that element with the painting, or whatever you're doing, there's this idea is I get this a lot of people like, what if what if it doesn't look good, or there's a self-consciousness that can come with that element with what you do with your miniatures, and which can stymie you and prevent you from reaching your potential or consistently working on it. Is you really do, and this is part of the modern Instagram TikTok effect, is all you're bombarded with the best examples of the things, and so you are instantly like basically put down because you're like, well, mine doesn't look like this or that. So this always served me well, is to just not care. Like I've historically been I've as I've aged and matured, my painting has gotten a little calmer, but I was known for many years as like a loud painter. So I like everything was like edge highlighted to white, and I had like all these crazy they call them swirlies. I'd paint these little filigree swirly details on all my models, and everything was like painted like it should be under black, like it's just neon and bright. Whether it was like my old Eldar armies or whatever, and I used unconventional colors and schemes, and so I would, people kind of knew me for that, and some people loved it and hated it. I remember when in those years I worked at the Games Workshop during that 5-year spell, and so I had lots of miniatures in the cabinet, and patrons and consumers would come in and be like, some people were like, "This is awesome," and other people like, "This is stupid. Like, what the hell is this?" And it's easy for that to take a blow, on your ego. You're like, "Oh wow, this guy hates my artwork." It's like in your face. Anyway, and also, over the years, I like anyone who paints a lot, you kind of try your hand at some painting competitions and things, and when you put a lot of work in and you don't get a result, it feels bad. It can feel bad, and then so the more you kind of can come back to like, I do this, for the fun of it. I do it because I enjoy it, and it's relaxing, and it's something to do socially with my friends. And the more I just stopped caring about how that was going, it got much more fun and much I was more willing to try to break out of, you know, if I plateaued, to try new things and try that non-metal ridiculous thing, and it looks stupid, that's fine, and we just like try move on to the next model, things like that. And so yeah, it was that served me well. And I find again with the new people, it's often they're like, oh, I'm gonna screw this up, it doesn't look good. And I'm like, just don't worry about it. Just keep going. So there's always a phone. Anyway, so whatever it is, whether it's the game, whether it's the painting, do it because you like it. And yeah, if you have any other, that'll be it for today. If you have any other questions, want to see some more minis, lots of cool ones in here. A lot of these are mine on the side. I've got, yeah, I like painting. Yeah, I always tell people that if I had maybe a little more, I don't know, if I wasn't so much in the, obviously I got to sell toys here. Maybe if I had a little bit more time, I would be painting probably a lot of just figures and busts. It's like just, and I try and tell people, just jump in because they're intimidating because the models look super nice, and you really don't want to mess up like a face on a larger figure. But they're much bigger canvases, so you can actually do proper techniques and learn a ton more. You can learn so much more in one of those experiences than painting the same Space Marine over and over again. So anyway, that's my tip there. Yep, so we'll see you next week. Fire in your questions, comments, criticisms, whatever. I'll take it all. I love it. I love even the criticisms are always great. Yeah. Till next time. Thanks.